Hello everyone, welcome to today's YouTube video. And here today we will discuss about some advanced level tax functions. We will take one scenario based question, and while solving that question we will cover those tax functions. So the question is, we have one sales table with three columns: customer ID, order date and sales amount. So we have to calculate the number of retained customers as well as lost customers. Retained customers are those who were there in last year, who shop from our website or stores from the in last year, that is in 2024, and also they return this year also in 2025 also. And the lost customers are those who were there in last year in 2024 but didn't return this year. So first we will take the retained customers example. So in this table we have few customers ID. C001, C002, and C003 belong to 2024 data. They were customers in 2024 year, whereas C001 and C002, only those two customers return in next year also, that is 2025. C003 didn't return. So we have to return the number which uh, as a number of customer IDs which were written this year. So we will write the DAX functions here. Let's go for new measure. We will name it as retain customer. Here we will use some variables to store the data because we have to do multiple calculations here. So first variable will store the value of the current year. Here we will use year functions, and inside that we can use max of order date. You can also use the today function also instead of max function. It won't make any difference. Just make sure you have the data for this year also. So if you don't have the data of or you for this year, or you are not, if you're not sure, then you can always go with the max of sales order date function. So this variable will store the data for the current year. Similarly, we will use one more variable for the last year. Here we will simply give current year, which is 2025, minus 1. So the last year will store the value as a 2024. Now we need to check who are those customers who shop from our website this year. So we will create one more variable here, current year customers. For that we will create one calculate table. So we will use that one DAX function which is calculate table, which will return the output in the form of table. So here we have to give the first argument as a table. So we need this table to return us the customer IDs. But for we need only the distinct customer ID. We don't need all customer IDs. So to return distinct customer IDs, we are using the values function. So values functions will return a table of the unique values, or it will return a single column table of the unique values. So inside values functions, we are giving sales of customer ID. But we don't need all customer IDs. We own for this table we need only those customers which are there in the current year. So we will give one filter condition where year of sales order date is equal to current year. Okay, so this will return us the table of customer IDs who uh, did shopping from our website this year. Similarly, we have to calculate those customer IDs uh, which buy some products from our website last year. So we will just copy paste it. We will change the name to the last year. So the last year customer ID, sorry, the last year customer, only condition we need to change here is year of sales order date is equal to last year. Okay. So now we got two tables, current year customer as well as last year customers. Now we need to find out who are those customers who return this year. So we need to find the difference between those two tables, right? So we will use return statement here, and here we will use one function which is named as intersect. So what intersect do is it returns the rows from the left side table which appears in the right side table. So it will return all those common rows between the two tables. So currently in our DAX example, we have created two tables, current year customers as well as last year customers. Both have the customer IDs for that respective year. So we need to find the common values between those two tables. So first argument will be current year customers, and the last or the second argument will be the last year customers. So this will return those customers which are returned this year. Okay, but intersect function will give us the output in the form of table, but we need a scalar value, one single output. For that we will use the function count rows. Count rows will basically count all the rows from that output table, and we will place this inside intersect function inside the count rows function, and we'll press enter. Now let's check the output. We are getting the output as a 2. If you go back to your data, the C001 and C002, these two customers actually return in the 2025 year also. So our output is correct. We are getting the data for these two customers. Okay. Now we will move on to the next example. Next question is related to the lost customer. Now, if you see in this table, the C003, this customer did shopping from our website in 2024 year, but he didn't return in 2025. So we need to find out such customers or the number of customers who didn't return, who churn or lost, who are the lost customers from our website. So we will use the same method to calculate the lost customers also. Only at the end we need to do some adjustment. We will see how. So first we will copy this function or the DAX measure. We will create new measure. Let's see. We will name it as a lost customer. Okay. So we will go one by one. So the current year variable will store the value for the current year, that is 2025. The last year variable will give us the value for the last year, that is 2024. The current year customers will simply create one table which have the data for the current year or the customer IDs which were present in the current year, whereas the last year customer will return the calculate table with the customer IDs for the last year. Now at the end, we need to find out the customers who didn't return. So that means we need to find out the difference between these two uh, customer tables or the customer IDs table. How we will find out the difference? So for that, in Power BI, we have one DAX function which is named as except. So what except function returns is returns the rows from the left side table which do not appear in the right side table. So in our question, we need to find out the customers who are part of the last year data, but which did not appear in the current year. Okay, so for that, our left side table will be the last year customer because we want to see who are the customer who were there in the last year, and then our second argument will be the current customer year. So if we just cut paste this. So now if you see the left hand table is last year customer and the right hand table is current year customers because except returns the uh, rows from the left side which did not appear in the right side. So the customer which are there in the last year but not in the current year, and we are placing it inside the count rows because except function also give us the output in the form of table, and count rows will count all the rows and give us the single value as the output. So we will press enter. Now if we go back for the last customer, that will give us the value as a 1. In our data also, if you see the C003 customer ID is the lost customer who shopped from our website in 2024 but not in the 2025. So that is how we can find out the number of retained customer and lost customer inside our sales table. So thank you everyone. We will meet in our next video with some advanced level DAX function questions like this. Thank you.